I do. Anything I can do to help.
Ain't stab me. Let me bleed out here.
Now you're too good of a fighter. I need you. Die with the rest of us, Kaz. We don't get to leave so soon.
No, it's just... I thought maybe I could find the family again, but now I know that it's no longer an option for me in this world.
I'll catch up with you and we can talk if you feel up to it.
Do you want to?
Alright. I'll see you after this.
That mountain makes a perfect view around all the way to the vineyard. Meaning that for anything to get over this mountain, at least the main ones here, nothing's gonna get over this. Closer towards the estate, the vineyard over there, it will be easier to get down from, as it's slightly higher. But obviously if we put up walls, that solves
Blocks
the
our
issue.
vision.
It does. But the thought was, before obviously the idea came that the tower would be here, that would give us the line of sight. But the thought was, is that to allow for a bigger garrison to be built, there is a chance that we could use this land. If all of this gets leveled down, how far are we leveling all of this? Is it going all the way back to the mountains?
No, what you see here is what's being leveled. What do you think, you have an army of manpower?
No, God, no. Maybe in the future, hopefully.
This is a blind spot. All of this is terrible for us.
That's where the thought was, is to
look
use...
at what the enemies did. They flew over the walls. We only had a slightly early warning because we had men on the walls who could see into the sky. If our town somehow was built right up to that, we would be blind. Not to mention, if we had an enemy to besiege us with siege weapons that could arc, we'd never be able to retaliate. They'd have a natural barrier between us and them.
Okay, I see the concern. The thought was is that, of course, not building much of the town this way, but to put more of a small fortification here to have men be able to
fix that as well. Let's say that was flat as can be and you had the perfect castle on it. What good does that do?
The thought was, at least when we were standing here, looking down, is that there's a perfect kill zone for archers. Obviously, I
Kill zone
need to
for
visualize... Yes.
Alright. So, looking at that altitude, and the arcing that will be necessary of arrow fire...
It would not
from
be
both-
up that high. God, no. I was
Even
talking
up
about
here.
where we are
Come on.
now.
Because you have to understand, your men aren't trained with bows. They're trained with crossbows, which means direct line of sight and direct fire. Compensation for bolt drop is impossible. Now let's say you establish a fortress up here. Alright? What happens when these stout men wind up surrounded and besieged? Because a place like this is only going to have one way up, one way down. So it's a death trap if they lose their accessibility. They're only as good as long as their rations last.
That was the thought, was when we have, if we were to do it lower down, because being, obviously higher doesn't mean better. Most of the time higher is actually worse, accessibility,
Yes.
getting stuff up here. The thought was, if we created a smaller garrison here, obviously it would mean that if they were to be besieged, on that side, they would be surrounded. But there's not enough land here for the enemy to be able to fully besiege them without being in range of our main town and most of our garrison. And the thought was, is being lowered down allows for, if we remove the trees here, they have a straight line all the way down the street, which gives us the increased range that we needed, the early warning system starting down here. Looking
This
that
requires
way.
a lot of things going. It requires a lot of combative interactions going the way we hope it does.
That is true.
I'm telling you right now, the first thing I would do, with a fortress being right here, is again, we're blind in that direction. That area down there is flat because of what the robber baron did. I would set up a siege camp there. These aren't tough mountains to climb. What you would do is either you would continue to bombard this castle from out of sight where the enemy cannot retaliate, or they're forced to sally. And when the morale has waned, you send an elite unit up with climbing picks in the middle of the night. Let's look at the land that's over there.
Also,
You have to understand, the border between Gewin and Theosia was full of crags and mountains. We relied upon them to slow their advances, utilize our own siege equipment to target theirs. This worked for a time, until we found out that their way of war was a lot different than ours, and night killers were a thing. They still had to dig us out of our fortresses. But even then, if a fortress cannot resupply, which is why having docks is so important. If a fortress can't resupply, it's screwed.
Yes. Food, medical, weapons, armor, supplies to repair.
All they would have to do is come right here. Clear out these trees. They even have a road. They have a fucking road.
Jesus, okay.
Set up siege equipment. And God forbid they were feeling risky, and they sent people climbing up there with bows, and now they are over top your fortress and can pick off your sentries. The only reason why you want that kind of high ground is so no one else can fire down on top of you, and you control it. But other than that, there's no strategic advantage, because you still would have to sally forth. Now, this would be different if that was the one mountain and there was like a freakishly long ramp that went all the way back to friendly lines, and there's no way for us to get to, for them to get to us. Then our arrows will rain hell all day. But it's just not feasibly possible.
The other concern we had on why the fortification would be nice is that way enemies don't get up here and do what we plan and get on top and use that as a way to fire down on us. But
And that's why most of us is getting mined back, so there's a gap.
yeah.
You're never going to be able to make the terrain perfect. If that was the case, I'd put a few blocks out to sea and build a castle.
Yeah. Okay, that answers a lot of questions very well.
it was worth the
Looks
whole
our,
experiment.
Our cool fortification is, yeah.
And it's okay.
With the
It's a
majority
learning
of this
experience.
being mined,
Exactly.
And that keep being built there. We will be the bulwark between any siege weapons and the port being fired upon at an angle.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Allows for cavalry too, if we need a sally. Rather than getting down a mountain.
See, the Redod Keep is imposing and beautiful, but tactically it's pointless. The only way it's helpful is if they have to resort to sending men over the walls. Which, if they're smart, they never will. They'll bombard it till it is dust.
One of the
That was partially why I was thinking that we want to move to have a different area where the men could congregate, because if they got stuck inside of that, it's a death trap.
one of the things that Robert Baron was talking about about this design that I overheard him is that if they are attacking the main keep with siege engines, the rubble falls down onto the populace, which is why he didn't want to push up his siege engines so soon. So yeah, looks nice, but... It was a good learning experience.
Wouldn't want to try that. That's a trip to the quartermaster.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with him. Please.
On.
Yes, my boy.
Did anyone make you privy as to what was found near the Temple of Asara?
Found near the Temple of Asara.
Several packed down trebuchets.
What?
Yeah.
What?
The people that went out with Venora the other night apparently found some hidden packed up trebuchets. Maybe left over from the robber baron, or...
Yes, I've been looking for those since he retreated from this main camp. There were 2 trebuchets who were unaccounted for. That would have helped a great deal with the orc issue.
Well, we know where they are now.
We need to get there sooner than later.
That might come in useful against Paladin. Captain, I want you to organize a mission in the near future. I want you to utilize the Vanguard, bring whoever else you think you need, and I want those trebuchets scouted out.
It can be done. I actually already planned on sending a group out there to take care of some goblin scouts and orcs so I can tie it right in.
Good. Then what I want them to do is go there, locate both of them, clear any of the foliage away from them since they're likely overgrown, and we'll send a team in force to pull them back with horse and wagon.
Talk to Venora and she'll be able to give you a more precise location.
How did...
Yes.
Well, never mind.
While we're here, a few things I wanted to bring up. That's a perfect timing. I went to Venora, of course, to ask why Tiberius went and interrogated her with some of these people. Of course, she told me lightly of something. I don't fully understand, but she said that the Baroness ordered her to. The Sabine is safe. I'm not going to question any further.
Gave her a writ and said this was dynasty business.
I read it. I understood.
Hmm.
The main thing that I was told is that the Sabine is safe, meaning hunters can go back. Obviously, hunters aren't going to want to go there after what happened. Venora told me that that was good. That's all I asked, because I don't need to know more information that's needed.
Don't ask me because I can't
Would it be
explain.
useful? Exactly. Would it be useful to send a group out there to set up a fortification in the Sabine if it's safe? More of a cure F like we talked about before. Allows us to respond quickly, and we're closer to the areas where a lot of orcs attack.
The Sabine Forest is a no factor at this point.
About this way. Believe it if you will. Every fucking tree in there could kill you if it wanted to. Okay? Yeah. That's the weird shit that happened, and I can't explain it better than that. They will pull their roots up from the ground and smash you to bits. Captain.
Welcome back. Sorry, you started there for a second. Can you try again?
So don't worry about the Sabine, Captain. There's some fuckery there that's on our side.
I wasn't gonna worry about that. I was saying more or less so they could respond to things outside of the Sabine.
There's no outside of the Sabine.
By Telor
Outside of the
area?
Sabine is the left side of the main road.
On that, our forest scouts
Careful here.
have led me to believe that the Shadow, whatever the fuck his name is, and his 1,000 men that fucking disappeared aren't in the province. Or at the very least, they are completely out of our eyes.
I can't explain that even if I tried.
Me neither, but I figured I'd let you know.
Come on.
Well, as it stands, my thought process remains the same. The majority of the land over here is going to be cleared out to become more farmland, and it's going to be leveled as well. The city itself is going to be continued forward, and most of this is going to be mined back. It's stone used for the walls. A majority of the farmland is going to be outside the walls, so a palisade at least wouldn't hurt. But because of the way a farmland is, it makes no sense to put it inside of walls. Irrigation, all that would make the foundations weak.
So, just so I've got it right, order of operations, finish the wharf, start working on the walls, and then the housing?
Finish the wharf. Everything out here is being worked on at the same time.
Understood.
The entirety of that group is coming here. And the farmers are going to be focusing on this for as long as they can until we can reinforce their work first with numbers.
Right.
When the workers get out there, let me know, because I can send some men to be prepared in case they try to get risky, you know.
Yep.
Captain,
Yes.
bit of a request.
Probably something I can do. Hit me.
Any minor infractions by your soldiers, rather than being whipped or
Send them to work.
sold, send them to work, yes.
Easy. Done.
Very good.
This is already kind of a thought I was gonna do, which is, if they're not up to the task,
This one's troublesome.
send them to work. We need hands and bodies.
I like this one's idea. There you go.
The other thing that I need to bring up, there's quite a lot on the docket.
I should have looked at that.
The pay of, from what I've heard through the grapevine, the farmers are being paid around 50 copper per day.
50 copper?
Yeah, I know.
That is...
That's what the skilled workers want.
That's
plenty.
more than the guards.
Yeah, I know. That's the point, is that my guards are being paid 30 copper, and a lot of them are starting to get angry that they're making less than farmers now. They also
The
get
only
it-
way
they-
that I can explain that is that without their farmers, there would be no guardsmen. I don't like it. That's the way it is right now.
Okay.
I can't match that, but I can at least... The treasury could support at least 10 copper more per man and woman.
That was the hope, yes.
It's going to
Is
add
try
up.
to
There's
get
a few
more.
hundred soldiers.
I know. 400... Something around there, 400, so that would be very expensive.
Yes, well,
The hope
raise
was, the
salaries,
thought
but it's
was-
in top reach.
Raise the salary for those who are actually doing the fighting, the dangerous part. Allow the guards who stay in the walls.
You know what? I like that idea. If they want to raise, start volunteering for missions outside the walls. Those who go outside the walls will be paid a raise.
That, okay. And then, if they work, if a guard works, not ones that's being punished, but if guards would like to and decide to work as hands, would they get paid by... That's you guys, right?
The Wharf is currently a hodgepodge of things. You'd have to ask my son. He has a, was it League of Lords?
A coalition.
I don't like that. Coalition.
As for the wharf, I'm working with lords.
Legends almost.
I'm working with the Lord, what's his name with the beard?
Gomapadero.
No, the other one that was sitting next to you at the meeting
Dwarf?
today.
Oh,
Um,
his name escapes me.
yeah, he's doing security for the wharf, as it is. And honestly, the skilled workers who are doing the masonry on the wharf are getting paid. They want to get paid 50 copper a day. Like that is insane that those farmers are getting paid that much.
Yeah, I know. You know, if you can afford it, why not? They live their best lives. I know, I'm paying these ones out of my pocket, personally. That's why they're loyal to me. I pay them.
Right?
I give
Yeah,
them
you
food.
were getting really suspicious earlier.
I don't trust
told
you because
him-
you don't have a cod piece.
Yeah,
No,
that's for my armor
believes.
later.
This guy goes up to me and he's like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm making sure that there's a group of guards that are more loyal to me to make sure that in case something goes down. And I'm like, oh, so you're the captain now? He's like, yeah, I'm the capitano.
I worded it horribly.
He's like, I'm the capitano. I do a complete
And then I told him I was the
180, and he's like,
And then I was promoted.
I don't have time for that.
Right.
God.
got my eye on you, Captain.
Yeah, good. Careful, I might break your arm and then tell you to forge.
Don't unlock those memories.
What, they're great memories. You just love looking back at the past and thinking about all the great things that have happened.
Well then, 7 days to the wharf is done, and then immediately shifting onto this one. It'll be good.
Indeed. Do everything you can possible to speed up. Look, I'm not talking to you as your father. The wharf needs to be done in 3 days. We can't wait a week. 3 days is the deadline. I don't care what you have to do, who you have to coerce, who you have to deal with, or what you need to promise. Get it done. Otherwise, these people are dead.
Alright, 3 days. I'll make it work.
Well, speak with me. So, what we can do, we can work together. Obviously, a lot of the people, they don't have the skills to do the actual physical, the important work, the skilled work, that's what it's called. But lighter criminals or guards who need punishments, I can send as manual laborers, people to haul the stone, people to move the boxes, hold the tools, whatever the fuck they need to do.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna contribute, is to give you the bodies that you need to move it. If I have any, I don't know if I have any sappers in the guard, but if I have any sappers, I mean, most of the time sappers are quite protected. I can send them down to do something, because they're working for the province. And then, when we start moving out here, obviously I'll make sure the walls are manned as much as possible to watch the workers, and I'll set up a light perimeter alongside of the other noble to keep watch for goblins and orcs trying to use that opportunity from attacking.
Yep. The main hang up right now was the skilled workers were not showing up for work because they thought they weren't getting paid enough. The other workers, the bigger group of unskilled workers that do more of the manual labor, the lifting and the moving and stuff, very similar but in bigger numbers. So if your guys want to show up, if you want to send people there to do it, and they'll look at their jobs and be like, holy shit, someone's taken my job, and that gets them back in, then that's like a 2-for-1 right there. So if we can handle that, great, and I'll pay them the same wage as the unskilled laborers that are working normally as well. So if they want to, we'll do it day by day. So if any of you are on your days off and you know how to swing a hammer or you want to move rocks, we can pay you for it if you don't want to rest.
They're kind of, they're more fighting oriented.
Sure.
I kind of looked at them and I was thinking, like, do I, tell them to work? But
shoot the message up the line though. You know, like let the rest of the guards know.
You know, I have done that work before, but I might fall over at one point if you push me that
My
hard.
guards. They have to stay with me, keep me protected.
Yep. All right.
They're
Then
also training, so I need to keep them. Yeah.
together, then that should expedite things a little bit. I just need to figure out anything else I can do.
Hmm.
You seem to be a busy man, Kyla Earnhardt.
All over the place. How can I help you?
Ah, well, my manners. Giovanni Rispetto, or caravan master.
Ah, pleasure. How can I help?
I was hoping to. I was hoping to talk about the wharf with you. A bit of a problem I see with it.
Okay.
If you'll hear me out.
Of course.
I suppose there's a good spot.
We can walk and talk.
Stop, sir.
What?
Hmm?
Oh,
What?
Captain said you were being stabbed.
I'm fine. I believe he was...
Oh, I see.
Man, he just looks like the Capitano, doesn't he? Just walking with his little squad of boys and...
You should get him a mace.
Ugh.
Should.
Unfortunately, our Capitano is a
and curled
femboy
boots
and he
as
has a
well.
rapier.
And a little buckle. Let's walk and talk.
Alright. And when I do see the Wharf is progressing steadily, I don't know how much of a factor it's, how should I say, interest it's drawn.
You're speaking quite vague. Please elaborate.
Sorry. Well, I've been in the business some time, Kyler, and I've known, about a dozen shipmasters that have their eyes upon the wharf. My point being, when things are finally done, at least the way things are planned out as right now, you're going to be swamped.
That's the hope.
Hmm?
If you get a moment, I wouldn't mind talking to you about some things being forged.
I'll find you after this.
It shouldn't be too long.
Uh-huh. Swamped. Swamped is good.
Yes. Right. The way things are at the moment, with at least my numbers, with the amount of dock workers, carts coming through, and things are going to get held up with the current amount of space.
You're not talking about an expansion, are you?
And what? Technically not an expansion. There is, but I do have a solution. If I know, I've made friends with Dowie through my lifetime, and they've grown accustomed to create buildings within rock itself, particularly mountainsides. Now, you apply that same concept here, further down, and if you built, let's say, your warehouses into the stone, once you clear the right amount, that should give you more than enough space for traffic to flow perfectly, without any kind of hold-ups or interruptions. Alas, the cost would be time, of course.
We don't have time.
For... yeah, that's what I've heard, that people are really chomping at the bit to get this up and running, but the way things are now, when things might be fine at first, but trust me, the flow will stop, and when people can't get their goods moving, that's when problems occur, my lord.
I need the wharf functional because people are starving to death. That is the short of it, and I need that done as soon as possible. Now, if you have laborers that are willing to help to expedite that process, once the wharf is done and we've accomplished what we need to and people are no longer starving in the streets, we can move on to constructing larger warehouses into the walls. I'm more than happy to do that, but this wharf needs to be done as soon as humanly possible.
I can't say I spare men at the moment to do that, and I do see the urgency. I can't say how long, even if you did agree, how much more extra time it would take for the wharf to get up and running with adding warehouses like that, but
I simply cannot
voicing
add
my concerns.
hours. I can't even add hours onto this. I need to cut back any way I can.
Ultimately, your decision, Lord Enhart.
Come with me, come find me once the wharf is done, and if we start seeing these issues pop up, then we can move on that. I'm 100% down to do that. But for now, I need to make sure that our people
Very
don't
well.
starve.
Understood.
Thank you for
That is
bringing
all
it to my
then.
attention, either way.
Hmm.
Guardsman?
Oh, my lord.
Bye.
A missive. By the command of the Baron of Mem, he's requesting that you receive him at the keep gate. Apparently, it is by his wish that he wishes to accompany you in regards to personal matters, which has been passed along to me.
Okay, I'll head there right now.
Runner, sir.
Did you piss these guys off?
Afraid not. I believe those are a delegation of the Imperials that had arrived on that large ship not too long ago.
Best not to get in their way.
I believe many just do avoid them.
By the
I will
gods.
inform the good Baron of your coming.
Think of how much wood they could carry over here to help us build the wharf.
Yeah, you know, that would be greatly beneficial, my lord.
The hammers could hit like 10 nails at once.
Probably.
You know what? I'm gonna change into my other clothes, just so I don't look so raggedy when I talk with the Baron. Give me like 2 minutes and I'll be right back out. Oh, I gotta go around because the wall's there. Alright, I need to be right back. I gotta pee so bad. Oh god. Oh, my headset's falling apart. There we go. Oh, it's all falling apart. There we go. Okay. I had to put my charges in my hands and then Of course, every time I leave the fucking place, my stupid fucking trackers stop fucking tracking. Man, I'm tired. I'm getting up an hour earlier now because of the time zone difference with the daylight savings. And it is taking its toll. Come on. Why does it do this every fucking time I leave the room? There we go. How are we looking? We got the cape? We're all good. Alright.
She mentioned something else that is
My Baron. Apologies for taking so long.
Not a problem.
Oh, you like it?
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Imitation? You wear it much more
Merely
better
a
than I
jest,
do.
my lord. I hope you do not mind that I have asked that you be my guard for this evening.
Where to?
My lords?
Show me to your project.
Project. Very well.
Dutchman. You've been busy.
Very.
So have I, but don't think I have yet not seen the work you have constructed over this time. I wish to be appraised of what you have come forth with.
Of course.
You have been busy.
Been working hard. The goal is to have it completed within 3 days.
3 days' time.
I was told 7 by my stonemasons, but we're trying to expedite it as to feed people as soon as we can.
That's what I'm saying. His old position.
Taking priorities towards the people.
Why?
They will look fondly upon you and your father for that action.
Truthfully, I'm just... I don't like seeing people suffering like this.
Neither do I, my dear boy. It is hard to stare from one's palace and gaze upon his people suffering while he sits upon an empty throne.
And if I might ask, how are you faring?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Hey, Mr. Bello.
It has been...
Ah, yes, sorry. I'm thinking to myself. Do that from time to time.
How do I put this?
Sorry.
Disturbing, at the least, maybe, if the things that have come across my desk in these last couple of days. I have been at no ends with the other dynasties as well as the council. Missives back and forth, expecting some sort of response, or even perhaps even a sense of, well, a lost communion or maybe a lost country once made, only to be met with, well, less than what I'd hoped.
Well, my Baron, once these other dynasties see the fruition of this project and the ability to capitalize on our iron mine that we have, they might change their tone.
I did want to pay a great respect to you and your father on that note. I truly do not see warfare for all its misery and all its grief that it brings, the terror. I am not a fighting man, but I will wield the sword if it basically calls upon me to.
I saw you in Belerno.
Fighting side by side, it was an odd thought to think that to you and your father, foreign almost refugees, if I would almost call you, now serving as almost practically my seconds.
We made a
I don't
promise.
know what to make of all of it, if I'm honest.
It's... You're Gradian-born, as am I, and it took me a long time to come to terms with the concept of honor and doing things for the right reason and sticking to one's word. I know you have it in your blood, but to see it in action, as we have tried to project onto the others, it's something.
As both Gradian-born sons, we know exactly how thin and few honor goes amongst our people. And even though more or less amongst those in power.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a fleeting thing, but not a lost concept. My father fought and died to try and protect that sense. I just did not think it would be by my own blood that he would fall.
He was a good man. If I haven't already said it, I am sorry for your loss.
It is a tale as old as time, my boy.
But
brother against brother, grasping for power, trying to claim the world as one sees it. Idealists, all the same, and opportunists. It is unfortunate, but I have come to terms with it.
I think...
Still do not think about it, though.
Looking around at what you have achieved as well. I do not know your father, I never knew him, but if he has the same sense of honor as we do, then...
He would have liked you and your father, I'll say that much.
That'd be a nice change up in the keep.
Yes, as the opposing... more shifting as the sands, I would almost put it, of the favor of my beloved nobles. I am told that you had recently come into contact with a couple of you. Forgive me if it seems as if I'm almost eavesdropping, but not much doesn't go past me without my notice.
I'd hope not. You are referring to the coalition?
A fine name. What is this coalition that you have formed?
Originally, as we were planning to build the Wharf, we appealed to the people in Coracadus to establish trade routes, to make sure that we have trade flowing into the city and making sure that we have food, supplies, men, steel, whatever we need. To do that, I sat down with some of the nobles from Coracadus, each representing their own sections of proficiency, let's say. And they each said...
Clever men, and one in many.
Yeah. They each said, and they were all vying for, to assist the Wharf's construction and to set up these trade routes, and they wanted this, and someone else wanted that, and they all wanted different piece of the of the entire wharf carved up and cut between them, and I couldn't adhere to all of them, and it was put to me that I had to choose what was the most important, having soldiers, having culture, having food, and I said, no, I'm not choosing any of you, but I will choose all of you. And I said that we could form a coalition together. We could have 40 to 45% of the wharf space dedicated to specifically this coalition, so that we can allow trade in and out of the city frequently, and they went for it. Rather than most of them missing out and one person getting everything, everyone gets a little, and that way we don't miss out on anything either.
Brilliant. Brilliant, I must say, my Lord Odard.
You flatter me.
You know, you remind me something of my father had once told me and my brother in our youth. It is that a man who is that clever will not live for long. Now follow me on this. No lord wants a subordinate who completely does not understand his intentions, or a subordinate who can completely see through his intentions. Out of the two, a lord would actually bear a grudge more so at the later. Why? Because if a subordinate can see through his excellency's thoughts at all time, then what is left of his lord's power? True power is unpredictable, unfathomable. Your decision when you made, they did not predict this. They did not even begin to fathom the thing that you would instead cut out a piece exactly meant for them. You did not serve them up a pot, basically a cut. You served them exactly what you wanted. So remember, when you're addressing these many good laws, never to always reveal your hand. Always make it to where you're, my father would say, less self-assured of yourself. Now, that seems foolish, you would think, but you'll find that people will begin to underestimate you, and then slip up. They always will make the false choice if they perceive you a different kind of way. So remain unpredictable and unfathomable, my dear Lord Odhart, and you'll find yourself never losing. For my father, it was his kindness. They viewed him as a passive lord. They viewed him as one who would never dare swing his weight around, or his power, or the sense of his barony. That was to their fault. They did not realize to what true power he hid underneath that smile of his. There were times I would see the change in my father's demeanor whenever someone would dare even attempt to try and make accusations or even demands of him. The Vapex learned quickly of that.
I'm learning a lot today. Thank you.
I would hope that lesson basically would provide you with something. It almost seems already that you're acting in that likeness.
I've done similar things in the past for less noble things way back when. I always did it as a way of survival, but I suppose now, yes, now I'm hearing it, it makes sense that it could be used as a bargaining chip, as it were.
It's all about playing the game.
When I intend...
We all despise it. We despise everyone who plays it, but...
Everyone plays.
To those who are good at it.
When I originally was building the wharf, I put the position out there that I didn't want any slave trade to come through. I didn't want any slaves to work on this. And I put that as a firm point of mine, so that when they convinced me that they could, that it was better, that acted as a bargaining chip for me. If that makes sense. While I don't...
I think it does.
While
I
I
made quite a firm statement.
Yeah, while I don't... If perfect world, I would not like the slavery here. But it is a part of Gradian
My Lord
culture.
Odard. Forgive me speaking boldly, but given your background and everything, I can understand more than anyone why you would detest the slave trade. Trust me, I understand its necessities and its deep foundedness in our culture, and it is unfortunate, but isn't a necessity. I've come to realize its importance and why it helps our country grow and why we flourish because of what we are. If we were all, so obviously you said, to live in a perfect world, we wouldn't have a need for it.
Yes.
But sadly, we do. And it probably will never go away. Not in our lifespan, that is to be certain.
Yeah, I'm not that much of an idealist to block out how much it actually helps, but yeah.
An idealist, no, but you're a realist. You see everything as it should be. It's why I've grown quite fond of you and your father. You've made certain sacrifices, one that, if I'm being honest, I'm quite surprised that you have. If I know anything in the short that I do know, at least of your father's background, of those of Gewin, his culture and mine are like oil and water. They would never, by any means, ever come to some sort of a junction. Never.
It was a
But here he is.
very big learning curve for him to come here. He's always been in Gewin and in our land. We always had these values to uphold, and you would trust someone to do as they said. You could trust their word, but after being here for as long as it took, he realized that here that's not the case, and that for him was unfathomable. The idea of that is just so insane to him, just because of how he was brought up. But I mean, I was a street rat in Corrugatus, so I've seen it all.
I would dare say yes, you have probably seen the worst of our country.
But with the position I'm in now, I'm also seeing the best. People who are in charge that actually want to help people in charge, that have the drive to do good things. Whereas when I was younger, I never thought it was possible, my Baron.
Always do the impossible, I think, is the best thing that suits our merry little gang. And that's putting it obviously very lightly. What are we? Couple of lords, barons, fighting off impossible odds, trying to circumvent rebellions and subjugations by other dynasties.
Well, this is our specialty.
I'll admit, it was not things I would ever think to give a deal with in my lifetime. Or at least maybe by the time I was too old to where it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah. It's funny how things shake out, huh?
Relation of us and the Vipex.
Yeah, that's tough. We know it's coming. And we're just trying to survive now.
Yes. My fury cannot begin to be quelled once they took the Trident Farms. It is one thing to try and take over, but it's another thing to watch his entire people starve. So long as he could be ruler of the ashes, he would leave my place to burn.
Spiteful little shit.
The Vipex always were. They were always jealous of Biscuit, my forefathers who had laid claim to Nautis and built it from the ground up. Well, always dissatisfied with Whiskey the treatment they got. But for some reason they never dared even question the council that had put them there in the first place. But that's several forefathers times ago. And several hundred years of grudges.
Ugh.
It is as we Gradians do. A land of opportunists, one hoping to get a leg up on the other, so long as the other one is willing to drown as the other one gets up.
The biggest killer in Gradia, my Baron? Greed.
It has always been. I think you've heard the term of basically the two things that speak loudest in Gradia. Blood and gold.
Yep. But don't worry, we'll deal with the Repex like we're gonna deal with the Orcs, just as we dealt with the Robber Baron and the Capitano.
Speaking of that matter, I have great question of this Arkoth, I believe he is referred to.
The remaining Orc General.
He's the remaining.
One of two, from my understanding.
Two?
You'll have to understand, I've been pulled away from military duties by my father. Yes, there was one that we know as the Shadow. He has been blinded recently. Well, he had his eye removed. A master strategist, always sitting in the back lines, plotting, planning, scheming. And the remainder is Arkoth, the big one that is still around. Now, the Shadow, I don't know his actual name, it starts with a D, but he led the assault on the lead mine a couple of nights ago that saw Lady Hyde been crippled and her forces destroyed.
Yes,
I had
meant to pay a visit to her in that regard. It is unfortunate what had befell her and her men.
He had around 1,000 orcs with him, and after they attacked the lead mine, disappeared. Our scouts don't know where he is. We do know he's not made it back into the fortress itself. We assume he's left the province, but we don't know how, where, or when.
Have you heard much of the status of the fortress? I understand that you all collapsed a whole side of the wall.
Yes. We thought that when we did that, we would have the breathing room to go in and finish the rest of them off, with them not having a command structure. But as we found out, the general that we thought was dead, Arkoth, was very much alive, and we walked into his trap. The only reason those orcs are staying in there now and being able to hold back is because he is there, leading.
Curious. I figured something had gone astray from the original missions you and your father had laid out for me and planned. Honestly, as each one was completed, I grew vastly more hopeful. The impossibility and the completion of them were already shocking as it was. But of course, fate never truly gives me a hand, and just slaps it away. This Arkoth must be dealt with.
There's a plan in the works within the next 2 days or so.
I might ask you to keep me very much appraised, as I'll hear no detestment of this, but I might take the field on this one.
Very well.
It is important for the people and for my nation to know exactly who is at the forefront. It is not me trying to be some sort of glory hound. I know who I am, but I am still the Baron at the end of the day. And the people must know exactly who it is that is going to unite them through this time.
I should appraise you of the loose plan then. Current plan is to use the person that Arkoth has this vendetta against, Soma Kado, as bait, as well as...
The surgeon?
The surgeon, yes, they have a history. The plan is to use him as bait. He will be walking between here and Telor, along with a retinue of my house's unclothed guards. Well, clothed but unarmored. They'll look like random civilians, but they'll be armed. So that when Arkoth tries...
Is your house able to take such a hit and to offer up such men?
This was Arn's choice. They'll be the best of us.
The Marshal.
Yes. When Arkoth moves
Another
out
high
there,
gambit.
that's all we have, my Baron. Once
I see.
Arkoth is drawn out, because it would be too juicy of a target for him to ignore, he should only be able to muster a small retinue to be able to do that, which means he'll be exposed. We will spring the trap, allow our men to attack him, and my QRF and our best cavalrymen will run him down should he escape.
Likely I might assist you on that cavalry. Still, something doesn't sit right with me. You said that this shadow of his had retreated ever since the attack at the lead mine.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, from your perspective, this Arkoth, will you think he'll be able to perhaps predict such a trap? Or do you believe he does not have the same wits nor intelligence as maybe as some of other of his misbegotten kin?
Arkoth lacks intelligence, but he makes up for it in his brawn. He's massive. Now, we won't give him enough time to predict it. His scouts will spot Soma and the group moving, and he will have to jump on it or miss the opportunity. He won't have time to plan a counterattack or lie in wait or so-and-so. There is the wild card of the shadow being somewhere we don't know. That is a concern, but that's all we got.
That was my thoughts. It seems to be the best course of action, given obviously the high stakes we have continuously had to basically place against the orcs. Still, I was hoping at least to maybe give us ourselves some reassurance, either to yourself, your father, his men, anything at all that might at least lessen this worry I have in the pit of my stomach.
It's a gut feeling. You're right, I have it too. I'd like to be able to listen to it, but
strange.
We don't have any cards to play anymore, so we take what we can get.
No, we do not. We're running out of time, food, everything.
Yeah.
So I would be in agreement with this move. Still, though.
After that, it's the Vapex.
I'm curious to see if their movements, once they perhaps have the scouts report back, we're able either to completely annihilate the orc force or rout them back into their hole.
We would be...
I don't know how quickly they'll respond.
Standard military tactic here would be to allow them a way out. They still outnumber us. We don't want them to dig in and fight to the death, right? So we would open up one of the gates and allow them to retreat out of the province, ideally, and once we've routed them and we know most of them are out, we will start a screening force that will take, I don't know, a week, a day, and work our way up the province, pushing them north. That would push them, theoretically, towards Palaman. If we're lucky.
It sounds like a fair force of attack. I was beginning to almost make, or consider potentialities for something as crazy as fire attacks. Given, obviously, what the lands they must traverse. If I had to sacrifice part of the Sabine to do it, I would do it. As much as I would greatly avoid such that. But I'm left with such little choice. One problem at a time.
One problem at a time. Right, now for me, my main priority is finishing this off. Hopefully within the next couple of days.
I hope to be here for its grand opening, I suppose. We won't have any fancy bows or presentations, but...
I'd like to have you there, of course.
I feel it will be magnificent. I intend to be.
When Lord Padero put the idea to me, and he said he wanted to build a wharf that would, quote, rival that of Coracadus, I didn't think he'd be able to pull it off, but, I mean, look at it.
Big aspirations.
Well,
he's done quite well. The framework and everything seem to be coming along quite well.
No, I just need to figure out how to cut off 5 days worth of construction times.
No shortage of resources, no workforce, no anything for that matter.
It's the motivation. They were asking for more pay today. They were getting paid less than the farmers and less than the people going out to cut wood. So I've fronted them for the first 3 days, and I mentioned it to the nobles today if they would be willing to assist in the payment, which I think they will. We'll see.
It's good of you. But to play careful with good old coffers and coin.
Yeah. I was instructed to make it work no matter what, so it's gonna fix it. It's gonna work.
You're shaping up to be quite the man, you know. military and in the political sense. A man must be well versed in either.
Thank you. It's a lot of on-the-job learning and a lot of reading of books.
Tell me, is your library lacking? I'd be more than happy to send you a bit of my own.
I would definitely take you up on that. It's not lacking per se.
Of course.
It's just a lot of it is.
You do
just
know
history.
you are more than welcome to come to my own study if you'd like to try and maybe take a moment for yourself, given as you are on leave from the field as of right now.
Might take you.
I'd
up
be
on
more
that.
than happy to have you in my accompaniment.
I'd be honored.
My father's library was extensive. He was most adamant to me and my brother that we remained with sharp minds. Sharp swords and even sharper minds. That was his saying.
Elena said the same thing to me.
Seems it is a favorable quote.
Well, knowing is half the battle.
Still.
The other half is excessive force.
I hope you feel a great deal of pride looking at this, as you should.
I will do when it's done. I'm not one to count my
Not pulling it
chickens.
too early, are we?
I just... if previous events have dictated anything, something will go wrong somewhere. And I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop, as it were.
Leave it to the Radards and the Earharts to clean it up, huh?
As per usual.
By gods, I shouldn't be saying that. It might turn into a children's rhyme. Where a mess be made, the Radards and the Earharts aren't far behind.
Hey, we don't make the mess, okay? We stay and we clean it up. That's the main thing.
Suppose it depends on who's looking. If we're the ones to make it or to clean it up, or we're the one to do both.
Day by day, I guess.
An ever-constant battle. Either way. I think I have taken a great deal of your time already, and it seems the sun will soon be setting upon us. Would you be so kind as to escort me back up to the keep?
I'd be honored. Shall we?
We shall. I should ask, seeing as, if anything, I wish I had more time, but was there anything you needed of me, by chance? I was so forthright with my own needs and wants, I didn't even dare to even ask of yours.
My duty is to you, my baron. But if you're offering and you know how to swing a hammer, we could take you down on the wharf.
Come now.
If you want to build something.
A Rodard laborer, the very Baron himself swinging a hammer. Now that would be a sight.
I wouldn't want you to stoop. I appreciate this sentiment. Honestly,
Trust me, I have been stooped far lower, so maybe if anything, it would be right that I do so.
if there is anything that you think of ways to expedite the construction that I'm not versed in, I am still learning my way of stewardship, let me know, and I would be very much appreciated.
Allow me to converse with the Castellan on that regards. Let me see if there's something maybe I might be able to do for you, and alleviate, perhaps if anything, speed it up.
I would very much appreciate that, my Baron.
But of course, my first and foremost is always keeping the nobles off you and your father.
I appreciate the blocking action you've been doing.
It is what I do best, I'd say at this point, seeing as the, not loyalties, but perhaps the favoritism begins to shift every so often if one does not care for one action and then cares for the next. Very fickle they are.
Oh yeah, I'm aware. I've seen them in the small council meetings.
How do I feel when I have to sit on all of them?
Ugh. With respect, blah.
Yes, I've had dear mother take some time for herself and step away from those and allow me to alleviate that. I've been doing that more oftenly enough, seeing as I'd honestly would prefer her to live the rest of her years in more in peacefulness and respite.
I was going to ask, how is she?
She's faring quite well. She speaks a great deal to me of the Lady Venora. She had also alleviated me of a certain phenomenon, but I was not going to go into such matters given a extreme lack of, well, understanding.
I'm right there with you, my Baron. But it is good to hear that your mother is faring well.
If I were to go back several months and see what she was now and what she is today, I would scarcely believe it.
It is a stark difference. A good one, too.
It is. And it is here where we shall part ways, my good lord.
A pleasure as always, my Baron. We should do it again sometime.
Of course. As I said, my offer is always open to you in regards to my study, as well as also always seeking my counsel. Tell your father I will seek to speak with him soon. Seems he is away, and maybe had hoped that we'd run into him, but a conversation for another time.
I'll let him know. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
My thanks. Be well, young Lord Erdhart.
And you. Send your regards to my mother, please. Your mother.
Of course.
Alright. You want to talk?
You wanted to.
Yeah, only if you're comfortable. I don't want to push anything.
Doesn't matter to me. Wherever you want, doesn't matter to me either. Not like we can go to any place of my own.
Somewhere I could sit, I would appreciate. I've been on my feet all day.
Sure. I'll let you pick the place.
So you seemed, quieter today.
The errant son. What was his name?
Is there anything I can do to help?
No. It's just new and old pains.
I know those.
Oof, I guess. More than anything.
Lord. There's someone waiting for you at the forge.
Okay, goodbye.
Alright. Really quick, how can I help?
How much would it cost to get 3 throwing knives?
Throwing knives. That would be 4 silver.
What?
Swing by tomorrow and they'll be done. What was the name on that one?
Davos.
Garvos?
Davos, the D.
Got it. Yep, come on by tomorrow and I'll have those done for you.
Perfect. See you tomorrow then.
Mm-hmm. My apologies, Kaz.
I do apologize, it's your job. One of them.
One of many, it seems. You mentioned the family thing.
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate?
What would you like to know?
Well, what do you mean by that? I don't mean to poke or prod or pry, just everything you're comfortable with, of course.
That's history. Doesn't really matter if it's said out loud, and I don't care if people know. I come from Eshmith-Alas, Wood Elf there, lived in a grove. We traveled back and forth between what's known as the Alder World Grove, the Alder Spirit Wold. It's basically a place for the people who run groves to relax and, you know, let off a little bit of steam, pressure. Peaceful place. I met a man there by the name of Aranduin, and he's the one that taught me how to use this. We became close, lovers even. And when we were traveling there again, this most recent time, at least for me, we found something new in the ground. A fissure had opened up. And so myself and a couple of the Herdithus Sentinels, which is what they're called, the Sentinels of the Alder Spirit Wold, we went in, and it led us down to the Dwarven Old Roads. And we were ambushed by Dwergar down there. We tried to get out as best we could, but it was me and two sentinels that managed to even get back in the tunnel itself, out of the 6 that went down. By the time I got near the surface, it was just me, and Aranduin and the sentinels that were up there rolled a boulder down and sealed me down there. According to Lord Inalaman, my dryad cut off all connection with me, so I lost my family. And with what happened with Faye out in the Sabine the other night, I give up any chance, any hope of going back. Not that I wanted to, still. That home is gone, that family's gone, and I traded it for Faye's tribe and become a part of their family. And yesterday I was told after everything, they don't trust me. They've lied to me. I've bled for them, given everything for them. I would have given more, and then I'm told I'm not trusted. I don't get families anymore. That's why I'm quiet.
Did they explain why?
Because who cares? No. They just said, we've barely known you, or we've known you for less than a month, we can't trust you. Despite everything.
That doesn't mean they won't ever trust you.
I don't care anymore. If I made it known that I want a family with someone in their group, say if I went to you, for example, and said, I know you're the Erdharts. I know this is where you stay because I've heard it around town. I was sent by a friend. And then the first thing you do to me is lie to me. Then you get back, and Arn comes to me and says, "Oh, we were gonna let you in, but I was gonna actually create a whole fake personality and get to know you first to judge your character. And then I defend your home for you, sacrificing my own. I don't ask for anything in return. And the one time I do ask for something, which I didn't even care about to begin with, you tell me, we don't trust you. Why would I stay?"
Some people are just untrusting, I suppose.
This goes past untrusting. Oh! I even forgot. The stick she carries spoke to me, called me broken. And I am. It's their fault. And then they tell me not to go to a man because he's dangerous and he's scary and he's special. I go to that man and he's more kind and accepting than any of them were. I don't.
No, I'm not meant to ask a lady this, but how old are you, Kaz?
224. Actually, I might be a little bit older. I don't know. I don't know how long I was underground.
You're still young. It doesn't make what's happening now any easier, but time does a lot, and we often forget that, or at least we don't put as much stock into it as we should. I don't know if things are gonna...
I'm alone.
He might not always be that way, though. This isn't a forever thing.
It is. To explain it, every being in the world has their soul, obviously, and the soul is attuned to something. Usually it's just the natural wild magic of the world. For me, and what else like me, we're attuned to a dryad in a grove. Having that severed is like losing a piece of your soul. I can't get it back. I have to find something else to take its place. I don't even know where to begin. I thought maybe helping the town would fill that hole. Everything I do just falls apart in front of me.
That is tough. I am sorry, Kaz. Truly. No one deserves that feeling.
Just want to make the world a better place. And I'm a monster for it.
I don't think you're a monster.
I do. And if I'm not a monster, I'm just some freak with a wounded soul. Doomed to spiral out of control and get myself killed.
Do you think you're not
I already see it happening.
letting the world be a better place? Or helping it to become a better place?
I'm trying.
Kaz, just the fact that you're trying and you're taking the steps means you're doing so much better than most of the people on this planet. Especially in this continent. Hell, even this town. It doesn't need to be a lot, it can be lots of tiny little things every day. And it'll add up. But the fact that you're willing to stand up, grab a sword and fight for other people. People that you yourself said have no connection to. That's something that should be praised. You should allow yourself to be praised for that. Not many people have the courage or the will to do that. So at the very least, take heart in that.
I don't have courage for it.
You do it.
I do it. I'm scared the entire time. And I get angry because I'm scared, and then I get pissed off because no one listens to each other. And I just come out hating things more than I did before.
Courage and bravery cannot happen if you're not scared. Bravery is overcoming that and doing what you need to do, which you do. I feel scared. I get scared when I face orcs. I get terrified when I walk up and talk to the nobles. The courage
Honestly,
is...
I don't... Nobles don't scare me.
I'm a low life, I always have been. It's always been surreal to me. But my point, Kaz, is having those feelings and still doing what you need to do. Whether it's because you feel like it's the right thing to do or because people are relying on you, you still do it. There's the mark of a good person. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass here. I've seen a lot of people claim to be good and all that, but when the chips are down, they're the first to leave. Not you. When we fight side by side, as we have done several times now, being the bulwark between harm and our friends and the people behind us, I'm confident when I have you there. I feel stronger with you there. And I trust you not to turn tail and run, because I've seen you do it. And that is a good thing. And that's all you.
Yeah. Sometimes, I don't know, I wish I had a family. but no, I never will.
Just give it time.
The Dwargar and dwarves make sure I don't want it anymore. I've tried 3 times. 200 years of my life was dedicated to a lie. A year and a half of it to people who wouldn't even fight for me. Now this. 3 times my life's been shattered and I've had to pick it up 4 times. That's enough. That's probably what you don't want to hear, but I will find a way to challenge the gods. They deserve it after doing this. If in my pursuit for vengeance I can prod a scrap of humanity, if I can trade my life for an hour, a minute, or even a single second of grace for those who cannot fight with me, then I'll do it. Not because I expect anything in return, but because it's the right thing to do. I'm learning that a lot of people here don't know what the right thing is.
I was talking about this with Baron and Mem actually, not 30 minutes ago. Coming here to Gradia from Giwen and Aralan for Arn, my father, was a huge change and a huge learning curve for him. He's grown up trusting that when people say they'll do something, they'll do it, that they have words, that they have honor, and they'll stick to it. And coming to Gradia, a place like this where it's the complete opposite, it's a lot, and it's a terrible, scummy place. But Gradia isn't everywhere. There is good in the world, and there's good in the people around us. Sometimes it's just hidden away.
These people deserve better.
Some of them do. Some of them are scumbags, and they don't deserve the blood of my men. But we do it anyway because it's, again, the right thing to do.
And burn it down.
Burn it down?
Burn the whole world down. Let something better arise from the ashes.
As far as people exist on this planet, in this world, there will always be conflict in one way or another. It's just in people's nature.
No, it isn't. It's a learned behavior. One so ingrained in society that we accept it as nature. I don't know where I'm going to go. How I'm even gonna start getting to where I need to be. Especially since this is a path I have to walk alone. But if you need anything, just ask.
Same goes to you, Kaz. You've earned my respect through your actions and your heart.
Well, I guess the first step for me would be figuring out what I can replace this wound with. Maybe there's something out here just as hurt as I am that needs someone.
Plenty of broken things here in Gradia, Kaz. But
I mean, magical.
I will say, avoid filling the gaps in yourself with extrinsic things, external things, because as you know, those things can go away. Spend some time with yourself. One second.
All I have is myself anymore. That's what it feels like.
At the end of the day, Kaz, the only person that's always going to be there for you, right up until the end, is you. And it's nice to be around people that care about us and love us and would fight with us and for us. At the end of the day, it will just be you. It will just be me. So, finding the strength in here, where no one can take it from you, where it can't betray you, where it can't stab you in the back, is one of the hardest things you can do, but also one of the strongest things you can do. At least, from my understanding. And in the meantime, if you want to chat or catch up, come find me.
You know, all this stemmed from was asking to see and read Faye's notes. And it's not even anything that I don't already know. But if I have to figure anything out, it'll have to be by myself. Or at least by my own hands. Who knows? Maybe I'll see you up in those small council meetings if Inlaman wants me to join him. Or if I can finagle some way to, I don't know, pull some weight with elven politics. It'd be nice to have another friend on a border.
I hope it goes okay for you. Really.
I doubt it, but thank you.
Hopefully
Put the armor back on.
Yeah. See you tomorrow, yeah?
Maybe.
I'll see you tomorrow.
It's never a guarantee, but should I live, and should you live, I would very much like that. And this is where we say goodbye and walk the same direction, because you'll be lighting the lanterns for me.
Just for you.
Thanks. I want you to know, if Aranduin does come back around, I am his blaze. I will fight him in the streets if I see him.
Yeah, I've got our people Got a few people I'd like to do that to as well.
Repercussions be damned. Just please don't interfere.
No promises, but I'll do what I can.
Thanks. All I can ever ask. I'm good from here if you want to go back into the estate.
Alright, Kaz. Take it easy.
Good night.